Georgia dominates South Carolina in this first SEC matchup of the 2021 season. The Dogs started out pretty quickly in the first quarter. I think JT Daniels threw for about 100. He went 8 of 9 for 119 yards and a touchdown in the first two drives. Then, for whatever reason, Kirby Smart took him out after Georgia was getting into a rhythm. And then Stetson Bennett throws a pick, which ended up turning into 3 points for South Carolina. But ever since then, JT Daniels got back in it. He finished with 23 of 31 for 303 yards, 3 touchdowns, 1 interception. That 1 interception was, I guess, a misread on him. I don't know what route Fitzpatrick ran, but the safety, was it Foster, for South Carolina, jumped in front of the pass and picked it off. It was kind of a bad throw, too. Just a terrible read. But that's really about it. Other than that, JT Daniels played absolutely well. In Georgia, defensively, the first team, lights out. They didn't give up a touchdown, I believe, until the third quarter. And in the third quarter, a lot of the starters were out of the game, if we're being real here. But Georgia hangs on. Shout out to Frank Beamer's South Carolina team. They really fought in this game. They did not quit, which is, if you're a South Carolina fan, that's something at least you can build around because you were clearly outmatched. South Carolina rushed for less than 30 yards on, I think, 13 carries in the first half. That is not going to get it done against any SEC team. Kevin Harris had 16 carries for 31 yards. In that first half, I think they gave him the ball like 7 or 8 times. I don't even think he had a yard. That's how good Georgia's defense is. Georgia held another team under 100 yards rushing. That's now the third game in a row. Now they gave up over 100 yards to Cincinnati in the bowl game. But South Carolina rushed for 96 yards. Majority of their yards coming in the second half, just like UAB did last week. So there's that. Zeb Nolan only went 1 of 2. He got hurt. I don't remember who stepped on his hand back in the first quarter. But his first pass was a nice pass over the the right shoulder of Josh Vann, I believe, the wide receiver for South Carolina, who had a very, very, very good game. He had over 100 yards in today's game. So that's a bright spot for South Carolina. But Georgia offensively looked really, really sharp in the first couple of quarters. Stetson Bennett came in and threw that interception. I don't know why he came in the game. Kind of upset me on that, but it is what it is. But JT Daniels looked really, really good. Kind of build off what he was doing last year. Another 300-yard game for JT Daniels. And then the rush was actually really, really effective all night. We saw against Clemson in the first half, Georgia really couldn't run the ball as well, and even against UAB. But today they were really, really able to run the ball. And, Kendall Milton had 10 carries. James Cook only had 4 carries, but all his carries were explosive pretty much. Zamir White had 8 carries. Kenny McIntosh had 4 carries, but, he didn't really do much through the ground. I think he had a couple catches. Yeah, he did. He had 3 catches for 35 yards, so that's that's a plus as well. But yeah, wide receivers. Jermaine Burton had a nice touchdown back in the first quarter, I believe. A.D. Mitchell had a couple really good catches. Brock Bowers again dominating. A lot of touches out of the backfield for James Cook and Kenny McIntosh. So that was interesting to see. But looking past to our defense, again, like I said earlier, the defense pretty much dominated this entire game, especially on that front seven. Once we got into the late third, early fourth quarter, we subbed out to second and third string guys, and Georgia still held them to 7 points, which was kind of disappointing when Amir Speed got burnt for like the third time in today's game, which we'll talk about that in a second. Who caught the touchdown for South Carolina? It was Vaughn. Josh Vaughn for South Carolina had a really, really, really good game. Like I said earlier, all his passes were at least all his 3 catches were at least 20 yards or more, and he had 2 over 50, I believe. Oh no, he had 2 over 40. But yeah, Amir Speed kind of let down the defense today. If we're being very nitpicky, he got burned a couple times. It was kind of disappointing to see that. Kelee Ringo, I thought played fine, played pretty well. Even our boy De'Aaron Kendrick. Listen, on that pass that he gave up, I think it was to Vaughn. Vaughn just made a play. It was a 50-50 ball, and the wide receiver won that battle. But that was pretty good coverage, in my opinion. But yeah, that's pretty much it. The Dogs take care of business. They do not cover the spread. It is what it is. Georgia rolls, though, 40-13 over South Carolina. Almost rushed for 200 yards, passed for over 300, I think they had just about 500 yards of total offense, gave up about 310 to South Carolina, 214 through the air. South Carolina only completed about 48% of their passes. South Carolina did not rush for over 100 yards. Georgia did, like I said earlier. And time of possession actually went to South Carolina's favor. So that's pretty much it for the post game. Like I said, Georgia dominates South Carolina.